but what we're doing is like accumulating the intelligence and the merit and the benefit of what has come before us, and or that what has like born us, or what we are born through. And just there's so many things become available when we remarry to and reorient to life in a way that is, it's nature, it's life, it's the circle of life. And this disorientation that we have been kind of living in and talking about can be resolved.
I think, yeah. I mean, I think some of the most inspiring stuff that I've been seeing and reading about in terms of responses to the pandemic, kind of from a larger perspective, it comes from people who are talking about framing this time to themselves, or telling themselves a story of this time as if it is already past. Mm-hmm. And as if it has already passed well. Mm-hmm. And so, framing the present to yourself from the perspective of a happy future has, a really tangible bearing on this day right now. Mm-hmm. If we can hold that story from the future in our minds and in our hearts.
Weaving the narrative.
Yes, weaving the narrative. Yeah. And finding ways in our daily lives to pin that. I mean, I know I keep harping on time immemorial and traditional culture, but I do find it fascinating that there, for a very, very, very long time in our in the life of our species, creating beauty was not removed from the nutrient stream of the absolutely everyday. The way we clothed ourselves, the things we ate with, the houses that we lived in, and the orientation of the houses, and the way they were constructed, and the things that were painted on the walls, and the way that we interacted with the earth for our own sustenance, all of that was just a big, fat, collective art project. And then, as we began to remove ourselves from the nutrient stream of the planet, slowly, art became this rarefied, special thing that we don't really need in order to survive. It is non-essential. But my feeling is that going forward, as we are more and more taking responsibility for weaving the narrative, part of how you weave the narrative is how you relate to time, and how you relate to time by the things that you have pinned in your everyday life, mm-hmm. that remind you, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. of who and where you are and why, and so the pair of blue jeans that I've been fixing and patching for 3 years now, because they're coming apart, but I love them too much to let them go. When I put that pair of pants on, that says something to me about those pants, my body, the mood I'm in today, the story I want to be telling as I walk into the grocery store with my mask on, or, like the things that I have hanging on my wall, the objects that I choose to have in my space with me. That's all about weaving the narrative.
I'm thinking about in deep play, when we get to name our beginning, and we name the middle, and we name the end. And it's really the naming that gives it the shape. I mean, nobody's calling beginning, middle, and end. There isn't like a definitive beginning, middle, and end that everybody's on board with.
There are no rules. Like no one gets to say what makes the beginning, middle, or the end for anybody but themselves.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so finding, yeah, and then the other piece about like there's continuity, right? That becomes available when life passes through our hands, right? When life passes through our story making, whether it's, you know, through craft or through dance or through, you know, like how we just structure. This is my beginning. This is my middle. This is my end. And now I'm beginning again. Yeah. Why story can hold so much intelligence, so much cultural intelligence, so much, because it's like this coherent narrative that we can kind of, you know, in a time out of time, right? There was a beginning in this, you know, in the time before time, in the time outside of time. Oh, what are we doing? We're casting a circle, right? And this inside the circle, all time, right? And here begins the magic. This is the ritual, right? We begin here. And this is this is like, oh, a story will do that when we give ourselves permission to truly meet our moment with our imagination alive, with uh, our depth of perception, our depth of listening, our willingness to arise with our ancestry, with our genetic intelligence, with the oceans and forests that live inside of us and around us. And when we meet it, then, oh, what is happening? Time has become available in a magical and potent way. We can and we do make worlds in that way. Is this the middle?
Boom.